They tried poison. He survived. They tried bullets. The shooters never got close. They tried bombs, bacterial agents, and a lover with a gun. Nothing worked. For over 40 years, the most powerful intelligence agency on Earth tried to kill one man. And for over 40 years, that man kept smoking cigars, giving speeches, and outliving the presidents who signed his death warrants. His name was Fidel Castro. According to Cuban intelligence, he survived 638 assassination attempts. Now, the CIA has never confirmed that number. They've never denied it either. But here's what we know for certain. The United States partnered with the Mafia to poison him. They built exploding seashells. They contaminated a wetsuit with tuberculosis. They even tried to make his beard fall out. Some of these plots sound like comedy. All of them were approved at the highest levels. And every single one failed. So what happened? Was Castro protected by brilliant counterintelligence? Was the CIA incompetent? Or has Cuba been inflating the number for decades to make their leader look immortal? By the end of this video, you'll know which attempts were real, which remain disputed, and why the most hunted man of the Cold War died peacefully in his bed at 90. If that satisfies your curiosity, stick around. This is Truth or Hoax. Segment 1. 90 Miles from Fear. Picture the Cold War as a chess match. Two superpowers, every country a piece on the board. Now imagine your opponent places a knight 90 miles from your king. That was Cuba after 1959. When Castro marched into Havana, Washington didn't panic immediately. Revolutions happened all the time. The real question was always the same. Which side will the new leader choose? For months, Castro played it ambiguous. He visited America, shook hands with politicians, smiled for cameras like a man with nothing to hide. But behind the performance, the relationship was already dying. American companies owned Cuba's sugar, railroads and casinos, and Castro started taking it all back. Nationalization, seizure, redistribution. Then came the moment that turned anxiety into terror. Castro aligned with Moscow. Suddenly, Soviet oil tankers appeared in Havana harbor. Soviet advisors walked Cuban streets. Soviet weapons pointed outward from Cuban beaches. Kennedy inherited this crisis with a plan already in motion. The Bay of Pigs, April 1961. 1,400 Cuban exiles armed with CIA training and CIA promises. 3 days later, it was over. The invasion force was dead or captured. Castro paraded the prisoners on television, mocking American power in front of the entire world. Kennedy was humiliated publicly, but privately something darker took hold. If the CIA couldn't remove Castro with an army, they would remove him another way. A pill, a bullet, a bomb. Whatever it took. Segment 2. When the CIA called the mob, here's something that sounds like conspiracy, but isn't. The CIA formally partnered with the American Mafia to assassinate Fidel Castro. Not rumour, not speculation. Exposed in Senate hearings, and confirmed by the people who arranged it. And the logic, twisted as it was, made sense. The mob had lost a fortune when Castro seized the casinos. Meyer Lansky's gambling empire vanished overnight. Santo Traficante was actually imprisoned in Cuba before being expelled. Sam Giancana watched millions disappear from Havana's tables. These men wanted revenge. They had contacts still on the island. And most importantly, they had no official connection to Washington. So if a mobster killed Castro, the government could shrug and say, "Organised crime settling old scores. Nothing to do with us." The middleman was a private investigator named Robert Maheu. He connected the agency to Johnny Roselli, a smooth-talking fixer who moved between Hollywood and the underworld. Roselli brought in Giancana and Traficante. CIA scientists developed poison pills. Tasteless, undetectable, fatal within hours. The pills were passed through the chain to contacts in Havana. The target was simple: Castro's food or drink at a restaurant he frequented. Clean plan, total deniability. Except it never happened. The contact couldn't get access, or lost nerve, or was discovered. The exact failure point remains unclear. But here's the thing. The partnership didn't end with one failure. More pills were made, more attempts were planned. For years, the government prosecuting organised crime was simultaneously employing it, and the plots only got stranger from there. Segment 3. Plans that sound like jokes. Exploding cigar. Real proposal. Castro was famous for his cigars, so the logic was simple. Hide a small charge in the tip. He lights it, it detonates. This wasn't a joke. It was documented, discussed in actual meetings, approved, abandoned only because delivery was impractical. The ethics weren't the problem, the logistics were. Then there was the exploding seashell. Castro loved diving, so they considered planting a brightly coloured shell, rigged with explosives, somewhere he liked to swim. He spots it, picks it up, admires it, and it kills him. Abandoned as too unreliable. Castro loved diving and they knew it, so they built him a gift. A diving suit coated with fungal agent, a breathing apparatus laced with tuberculosis. 2 diseases for the price of one. The suit was manufactured. Someone signed off on it. It never reached him. And then there was the beard plan. Thallium salts. Thallium makes hair fall out. The idea was to contaminate Castro's shoes during a foreign trip. The chemical absorbs through skin, and weeks later, his famous beard disappears. The theory? Castro's power came partly from his image. Without the beard, maybe Cuba would see him as weak. A dictator brought down by hair loss. It never advanced beyond proposal, but it was proposed, in a serious meeting, by serious people. What does all this tell you? Desperation doesn't produce genius. It produces volume. Throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks. Nothing stuck. So the CIA tried something different. They didn't send poison or explosives. They sent love. Segment 4. The woman with the pills. Her name was Marita Lorenz, 19 years old, German-American. She met Castro when her cruise ship docked in Havana in 1959. Something happened between them. Within weeks, she was living in his suite at the Havana Hilton. She became pregnant. According to her testimony, Castro's staff terminated the pregnancy without her consent. Marita returned to America, heartbroken and furious. That's when the CIA found her. They didn't see a traumatized young woman. They saw access, someone who had been inside Castro's bedroom, someone who might get back there. They offered her revenge. She accepted. Lorenz returned to Havana carrying poison pills hidden in a jar of cold cream. Her story of what happened next has shifted over the years, but in the most famous version she made it into his room. She reached for the pills, but they had dissolved in the cream. Useless. Castro woke up, sensed something was wrong. He pulled out his pistol and handed it to her. "Did you come here to kill me?" She couldn't do it. Some historians believe every word. Others think she exaggerated her role to make herself the star of the story. But what's not disputed is this: the CIA recruited people with intimate access. They weaponized relationships. They turned lovers into potential assassins. They sent a heartbroken girl to kill the man she had loved. And even that didn't work. Alright, quick question for you. Which of these attempts surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. Now let's talk about the moment the government stopped denying everything. Segment 5. The day they confessed. 1975 changed everything. Watergate had shattered public trust. Vietnam had ended in failure. Americans were questioning every institution they had ever believed in. Congress launched the Church Committee, a Senate investigation into intelligence abuses. The goal was to find out what the CIA, FBI, and NSA had actually been doing in the shadows. What they found was staggering. Assassination programs targeting foreign leaders, Mafia partnerships, poison pills, exploding devices, and Castro's name kept appearing, again and again. The committee confirmed multiple plots against his life. They confirmed the Giancana connection. They published findings that read like spy fiction, except they were real. But here's what they didn't confirm. 638 attempts. That number belongs to one man, Fabian Escalante, head of Cuban intelligence, the person responsible for keeping Castro alive. Escalante spent decades cataloguing every threat, real plots, suspected plots, whispered rumours, anything that might indicate danger. By his count, 638. Is he right? The CIA never offered an alternative number. They confirmed some plots, stayed silent on most. So who do you believe? Cuba had every reason to inflate the count. A leader who survived 638 assassination attempts isn't just a politician. He's a myth. He's proof that a small island could resist the most powerful nation on Earth. Some of those 638 were definitely real, verified, documented in American records. Some were probably exaggerated, and some exist only in Cuban files that no outside researcher has ever verified. The exact number may never be known, but the pattern is undeniable. Final segment, The Man Who Won. November 25th, 2016. Fidel Castro dies in his bed. 90 years old, natural causes, no poison, no bullet, no explosion. After 4 decades of attempts, the man simply got old and passed away. 10 American presidents served during his lifetime. Eisenhower wanted him gone. Kennedy authorized poison. Johnson inherited the programs. Ford watched the Church Committee expose everything. None of them succeeded. Castro outlasted them all. The plots were real. The Church Committee proved that beyond doubt. The United States approved assassination operations and partnered with criminals to execute them. The number 638 is disputed, but even confirmed attempts number in the dozens. And Castro's survival? Luck, counterintelligence, incompetence. Probably all three. The most hunted man of the Cold War won, not by defeating his enemies in battle, but by outliving them. He died on his terms, in his country, in his bed. This has been Truth or Hoax. The stories they wanted buried. We bring them back. If this one opened your eyes, subscribe and hit the bell. The next episode goes even deeper. I'll see you there.